think, changing where we eat. Because at the end of the day, I want us all to win and live in purpose. Let's go. Welcome back. What up, guys? Welcome to the Nene Show. I'm your host, Nene Adams. It is Monday. Over here where I'm at, it's snowing. So I pray that everyone is safe. I pray everyone is covered in a warm situation and feeling good. If your Monday is a little different, like if you're in a hot state, I hope you're enjoying that. If it's windy, hope you're enjoying that, the rain. Every day is a blessing, so just think of it as that. So just make sure also if you're in my area, just stay safe, protected, and look out for one another in the snowstorm. So it's still kind of snowing right now. So just make sure you look out for those that are still out there. I feel like somebody's knocking. But anyway, let's go ahead and start off with the prayer, and then we'll go ahead and get into the podcast. Pray with me. Dear Heavenly Father, I come to you right now, and I just thank you. I thank you for this opportunity to be able to speak to people, to be able to share your goodwill, and to also disseminate information out to everyone. We never know who's in need. We never know who is seeking a voice from you. So we pray that the flesh in us decrease and that the God in us will increase so that we will be able to receive the message and be able to do your glory and your will. There's so much that's going on in this world, and we pray that we can be a contribution to that. You know, we don't want to be a setback or have negative mindsets, but we want to have a positive mindset and be able to find a way to help in hard times. So I pray for that right now in your name. And I pray for all of, it's Black History Month. So I pray for all the ancestors and the people who paved the way before us, their sacrifice, their commitment, their dedication to their community and just hoping it. I pray that we will be able to get back to those times where we love on each other, we build each other up, and we build our own empire. So I ask for all of that in your precious name. Amen. Amen. Guys, knowing that it's Black History Month, and I'm so excited for this month, not only because it's Black History Month, where we get to learn facts and learn about other people than what we normally hear about the MLKs and the Rosa Parks, but I want to make sure also that we shout out all the birthdays, because this is my birthday month. February, shout out to all the Aquarius. Actually, the Vaughn, who we're going to bring on a little bit shortly, his birthday is also on February 10th, along with mine. So we share the same birthday, and it's all love. So just know for me, all month is B-Day behavior. Hair done, nails, massage, everything. Y'all going to see the true Donita come out. But I'm just going to enjoy this month one day at a time. My vacation in Puerto Rico is going to be off the charts. So I'm going to document all that for you so you'll be able to see everything. But I'm so excited for all of that. Now, get into the Black History Month facts. Like I said, I don't want to talk about those that we already know. I wanted to look at some people that are normally not talked about and also are relating to the topic that we're going to talk about today, photography, right? So I want to talk about Gordon Parks. And it was interesting because I didn't know too much about him. But Gordon Parks was a self-taught artist who became the first African-American photographer for Life and Vogue magazine. Gordon Parks was a prolific, world-renowned photographer, a writer, a composer, a filmmaker known for his work and his project like Shaft and The Learning Tree. He paved the way for our next history fact, which is Tyler Mitchell. He is the first African-American photographer for Vogue who did a Vogue cover in the magazine's 125 years. So back then he was 23, and he did it in September. And what's so significant about that month is because Vogue is known for that magazine's big fashion issue. It's one that hasn't historically featured many people of color. And on that cover was Beyonce, and behind that lens was a Black man, a young Black man. So big shout out and kudos, and just want to salute them for their achievements, their hard work, and for them paving the way for other Black Americans that are trying to do the same thing, because you too can do it. Last fact that I want to put out here today, guys. We actually been working on another podcast. So the Nene Show is going to be switching over to Underground Rail. A lot of you guys have been wondering what Underground Rail, the significance behind it. And the biggest thing that resonated with me constantly when thinking about the podcast was trying to find a way that we can talk freely and openly about situations that are normally not discussed in our household and in our community. So I got together with a few of my friends, closest friends, a whole lot of personality, so much character, and we're gonna come together and bring that podcast to you. And it's so many excitements this weekend. Actually, we have a photo shoot. We're gonna do some videos. We're gonna get the stuff out here, and it's interactive. So we're gonna be, talking to you guys on Facebook, on YouTube. We want to hear what's out there. We want to hear the struggles, because what we talk about can reach someone across the world. And I'm glad we have these platforms that we can do it, and that we can talk to so many people, and people can use these resources to help them in their situation. So Underground Rail is something that we're going to use to navigate. Our ancestors use it to navigate to freedom. We're using it to navigate to our own freedom, from debt to expression, to so much more doubt. We're going to make it our own. So please join us. Make sure, I'm going to put it up here. Go ahead and like or follow us on IG. It's going to be _underground rail. So we're trying to get up to 1,000 followers before we start February 22nd. So make sure you follow. I will also have a promo that will be coming out where you can get a gift certificate or a gift card, where if you follow this, get some other people, bam, we're going to make it happen. But we're going to get to 1,000, and then we'll move from there. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring Von Walker on, and he's going to talk to us about what he does on the side, and hopefully it can bless, and it definitely will bless someone else. Yeah. Hey,
Yo, what's going on? This thing on?
Hey, it's on. It's
Okay.
loud and clear. It's loud
What's
and
going
clear.
on?
To the Nene show.
Glad to be here. Finally, I've been watching your show and I haven't been able to come on here. I'm
Yeah.
feeling really, really special right now.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. That means a lot. I know you do it too as well in your podcast and everything. But I'm so glad that finally we coming together to do something together. So
Right.
exciting. Definitely gonna be exciting. But let's talk to the people real quick. My thing is, your business is called, TJ's on here. He was like, "What's up, Von?"
What's going on?
I want to know how you creatively created that name, Flying Arts. Like, what really inspires you to come up with that name? Because everybody has a message on why they came up with that name. So I want to hear kind of like how you came up with your business name.
Well, I mean, it's kind of in the name itself, Flying Arts. It's like I'm an artist, but I'm not. I was an artist dealing with music, and then photography, and then videography, and eventually directing. Um, it's just like it's kind of hard to explain, because sometimes when you come up with a name, it sounds dope to you,
Yeah.
and it really does make a whole lot of sense to you. But the arts part of it, Flying Arts, the arts part of it is just to let people know that I'm an artist and I deal in many different arts. That's why there's a Z at the end of it. Arts, like for plural, not S. I wanted to stylize it a little bit. But yeah, that's pretty much what it is, to say that, hey, I'm not just this, I'm not just that. I can do different types of art. Because it's an art in photography. It's not just taking a photo. You got to get the right angle. You got to get the right lighting. And then in post, you got to make sure it's retouched properly. You got to make sure the colors are right. And it's the same thing when it comes to video. You got to get the right angles, got to get the right shot. Sometimes the best shots are not even the shots that you plan. It's just the shots that happen in candid. Um, so yeah, it's just Flying Arts is a couple of different arts.
I like that. I like that because you didn't just get yourself stuck in one area of just taking pictures and things of that nature. You just broaden yourself so that you can hit every single aspect when it comes down to entertainment, which is key. And I know that I've known you since for a long time.
Yeah.
I know you came in the industry, with rapping and things like that. What got you into the industry of like photography or videography? Like what steps did you take in order to get that accomplished?
You mean like when I first started into it? Like, how did I start?
When you first started into it, like, did you have anyone that you could network with?
No,
resume
actually, it wasn't any of that. No, that's not entirely true. There was one guy who had did a video for me before, and I had always wanted to do videos, because before that I was kind of I had it was a Sony. It was a really like point and shoot camera, Sony, and it could do video. So that was like kind of like a big deal at the time. Oh, I can shoot video and I can take photos too. What? 10 megapixels. What? So so I would go outside after purchasing that camera and just kind of do like vlogs. This is pre YouTube.
Right.
So I would do vlogs of myself with nowhere to post it, but I would just do that. Little did I know that there would actually be a platform like YouTube where me doing that I can post it up and then you can get a hell of a lot of views. Um, but I got into it that way, and then fast forward a few years, that's when I met the guy who did a video for me, and I was like, wow, you can actually, this isn't that difficult. I can figure this out,
Right.
and all I have to do is have the right tools and some motivation. Bet, let's get it. So that's how it happened. It started then, but it kind of lagged off for some years after that because I was into other things. And then I got back into it now and I had to reconnect with people
Mm.
um, that was a little bit more advanced than I was. And you just start picking their brain. You just start watching them. You work with them on the things that they got going on if they are cool with you coming through. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So it didn't start with, oh wow, it started with me buying that point and shoot and just playing around with it and going from there.
Got you. And you mean that point and shoot? Is that like a camera that you use?
Well, that's like those are the I don't you the equivalent of a point and shoot camera right now is your phone.
Mm.
But
Okay.
back then it was an actual camera that literally did photos and video and that's it. like, so those that's what the point and shoot. You couldn't change lenses on it. It had one lens and that was it.
Got
Point and
you.
shoot.
Point and shoot. Point and shoot. I'm learning. I'm learning as we go, guys. Too. Um, what equipment do you use, and is there some good brands that you recommend to purchase? I know, like we've been trying to work on this with the podcast. We've been sending mics and hey, we should get this, we should get that. But for someone starting out and they're trying to get into either the podcast or photography or videography, what is your recommendation on some of the equipment that they can look at?
Well, what is your budget? Number one. So if your budget is $500, then look for something that's gonna, complement your budget. A lot of people look at this. Even me, I felt guilt. I felt guilt. I was guilty of this too by looking online and seeing other people's quality and feeling like I have to have like a $10,000 budget to start buying stuff, and that kind of stifles you a little bit. It kind of keeps you from even starting.
Yeah.
A lot of people can start with $500. I would say a good $500 to get certain equipment would be cool. That'll get you a decent camera. You can get yourself a entry level Sony or entry level Nikon, Canon, decent microphone, depending on what you want to do. If you want to vlog, you're gonna need a camera that you can kind of hold in front of you
Yeah.
and have a microphone too that's gonna pick up decent quality. But yeah, you can do all of that with only a few $100. As far as like what brand to use, everyone's gonna. I started off with Nikon, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna only go Nikon. But then I started playing with Sony cameras, and I was like, well, I kind of like this, so I'm gonna start playing around in that ecosystem. Others stick by Canon, and then you have Fuji, then Olympus, and then Panasonic. It just goes on and on and on. So whatever you kind of start with is what you're gonna stick with until something better comes along. So I'd say just pick up a camera. Doesn't matter what brand it is. Just pick one up and then just start rocking with it. Just press some buttons.
Almost like them video games.
Yeah, you don't know what you're doing first. You just pressing buttons. You start figuring things out, and then you're like, "Oh,
Figure
cool."
out the codes. No, I feel you on that one. Because there are people who start off and they're wanting, and some of the good things too is we check reviews. You know what I mean? We go in
Well,
and
now you can check reviews. I mean, before when I bought that point and shoot, you had to go find a camera magazine. And
yeah,
who's really going to spend the time doing that? I'm not doing that. So I'm just going to see which one costs is within my budget.
yeah.
And I'm just going to be like, okay, that's $200. I have $220. Yeah, I'll just buy that one. like, yeah, that's how it goes. So yeah, that's why I say whatever budget you have, kind of look. But right now, every brand has a camera within anybody's budget at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had a store that you can go to and they let you, touch the product. I know that's a little bit difficult given the circumstances right now, but if you're able to do that, go there, pick up the camera, see which one feels better in your hand, and then go from there.
Definitely. And I was doing some research on Tyler Mitchell, the one I talked about for Black History, who did the Vogue cover for Beyonce. he actually said in that article that, when he started off, he started right off of his iPhone. He gave
Yeah,
credit to iPhone because he was like, the things that they're putting in these phones are the same as in the camera, the quality. Um,
to a degree.
Maxwell, yeah. So
You
he said
know, there's a
he started off that way. He applied,
yeah.
then did an internship, and now he was on the front of the cover, like behind the lens. So
That's why I was saying that right now your cell phone is the equivalent of a point and shoot from 2004 when I bought my first one. Well, actually, it was 2005 when I bought that camera. So there was no there was no iPhone, no cell phones that was actually doing what these phones are doing right now. I mean, they had cameras on them, but they were like 2 megapixels. You would never use that right now. So yeah, this thing, this right here is your camera right now. So if you want to start off with your phone. And you already have it in your pocket. Only thing you'll probably have to do is get a few accessories. Hell, you can do that thing. You can spend $100 on a few different accessories, and you're good to go.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, because that's what we're looking at now. Like even with me right now, I'm on an iPad. So
Hmm.
I'm literally on an iPad using speakers, Bluetooth, stuff like that. Obviously, we're going to advance up, right? The more we go into this in the community, we can research other things and our budget can stretch. So the biggest thing is, guys, don't spend too much money if you don't have it, right?
Yeah,
Stay in your
yeah.
budget. Definitely stay in your budget. Um, so I know you have a good eye, right? And they always say that the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. What tips have you learned about angles and techniques and lighting, kind of like what we talked about, that you can probably like give advice to someone else on some techniques that you use when you're taking pictures?
Um, I've looked for that a lot myself, like in researching to try to get better. A lot of the times, yeah, you can take a lot of tips from different guys. I think the, I think where you can really learn is in lighting. You know, where to put the light, how to shine it on someone's face, or how to backlight someone. Um, what to use, like diffusers and things like that. That's real textbook. But as far as like angles, um, that's entirely up to the person holding that camera. You know, you really can't, you can't write a textbook on how to get nice angles.
Yeah.
Not that I've seen. I've seen people try to get decent angles, but they always go back to talking about like certain settings on the camera, which you're gonna find yourself constantly changing, no matter
Mm,
where you're at. If it's sunny outside, you got to go in that menu. If you're in the studio, you got to go in that menu. If it's cloudy outside, you got to go in that menu. Hell, if it's dawn or dusk, you got to be in that menu. You're going to be constantly changing. But as far as the angles, that's up to you and the person that you're shooting, or the structure that you're shooting. You're shooting a building. How does it look in that light? It might look better at dawn, so go there at about 7 o'clock.
mm,
And then shoot it then. So it's kind of difficult to say do this when it comes to angles. Because when I get a camera and I'm shooting, or if I'm like that this past weekend, or actually a few weeks ago, and I was helping a friend out, and I was getting shots of him. A lot of the shots, we took a couple hundred photos, and at some point you're gonna find a gem. Sometimes a candid that he's not even paying attention to the camera, and you
yeah.
snap it, and it looks perfect. It looks like it was planned, but it wasn't. You
Nice.
see?
Yeah.
So, but the same can be said for video a lot of the time. Like a lot of what I'm talking about is not just, I mean, because I actually spend a lot more time shooting video than photography. So a lot of what I be learning on the photography side, I just poured it over to the video side because it almost goes hand in hand.
Mm, I
For
like
me, it
that.
does.
Yeah, for you it does. Little John, what up, battle? He asks, what kind of camera do you use personally?
I use a Sony A6500 for video. It's a little bit of an older model, but I am going to be looking to upgrade. I just been kind of holding off because I feel like they're going to put one out, the one that I actually want, which there's rumors of it coming out in the middle of this year. The
Mhm.
A7 IV. That's what I want. So I've been holding out. Otherwise, I would have bought the A7 III or A7S III, which the A7S III is actually more of a video camera. I mean, it can take still photos, but it's geared towards video. And the A7 III, not the A7S III, the A7 III, it's like a more of an all around camera. It's pretty good with video and it's pretty good with photos as well. Um, but it depends on what I mean. That's what I use. But for you, um, it depends. If you're doing photography, you got to look up the cameras that are more geared towards photography. And if you want to do more video, then you look at cameras that are more geared towards um, video. I hear a lot of people talk about Canon being really well suited for photography.
Mm,
I've never shot with a Canon before. I've shot with Nikon and I've shot with Sony. Um, t- uh, and it comes down to like if you're more technical, like
right.
you start getting into the color sciences. Um, Canon has really good color science. Nikon has really good color science for straight photography. But when you're talking about video, especially in low light, Sony takes the cake. And
Mm,
then you have other cameras like I was mentioning before, like Panasonic, Olympus, and um, Black Magic or the Red cameras. They all do things a little bit differently. They all have their own uh, uh, color sciences. So it really just depends on what you're trying to do, what you want to do. If it's photography, do some research on photography based cameras, which that's most suited for that. But I
gotcha.
do videos. That's why I use the 6500.
That's you use a 6500. So you got that battle. But I'm gonna connect y'all. But he's out here in the DMV area. He's located in the DMV area. My battles is located in North Carolina. So I'm gonna have to connect y'all too because he also does videography as well.
Okay.
He does video shoots. So he just put that in the chat. Um, but I know also you mentioned as far as like angles and techniques, it just depends on the person. I've heard about some things as far as researching the history or researching what you're taking the picture of because that also too can dictate like different colorings that you can put in there or stuff
I
like
agree with
that.
that. I
Okay.
agree. I agree with that. It depends on because when you're shooting like a model, you'll go online and start checking out what other photographers did in a similar situation. So if you're going to be using a studio and you're going to have all the proper lighting, okay, what did other photographers use? Like how
Yeah,
did they shoot it? You know, what kind of angles or what kind of positions did they have the subject, the model, in? Can you kind of do something similar to that or just do something radically different? So yeah, I understand that as far as like doing some research or whatnot. I haven't done too much landscaping or like structures or monuments, anything like that. So I see where the research and the history of that would definitely come into play. Like a city, if you're doing uh photography of DC
yeah,
and you go back in time and you start reading about certain sections of the city, then you want to go shoot that section of the city. I can definitely agree
you
with
can
that.
see that. Well, we have to do our research on San Juan when we get out there, so
Oh
we
yeah.
can take some good pictures and good videos. So I'm excited about that one. Um, with this profession, and I know you've been in it for a while, does this something is this something that requires a degree or certificate or whatever, or is this something that you can just like you said pick up the camera and just go out there and do it?
So you can pick up
As
the
far as
camera and just
networking too and getting business going.
you can just pick up the camera and start going out there to do it. Now, you can get good at just picking up the camera and just practicing on like friends and family. You can get good as far as translating that into actual clients. You do have to get out and outside of your circle. Start getting with people that, well, for me, I know it was mostly events or getting with people who are shooting as well. Like that's how it was, getting with people with events and then linking up with people that were actually actively doing shoots and getting things done. You know what I mean? Sometimes, sometimes you just got to be a helper on a shoot.
Yeah,
You know, and
that's real.
that's sometimes you just got to be a helper. Like you just come you carrying the bags and getting the lights in, and they're showing you, even if they're not talking to you directly. If you're just watching, you're seeing how things are set up. That helps you out too. But yeah, after a while, you have to get out. You have to get out. You got to get to like an event of some type, and even send emails out. Whoever's doing shoots, hey, can I come and help out on the shoot? Or hell, I tried to do photography for a group that I actually liked that was coming into town to do a show, and I had contacted their manager, their tour manager, and they actually responded back, and it was like, yeah, we'd love for you to come out, but eventually I wasn't able to make it,
Yeah,
but I took the step, and you never know, they'll actually respond back. I was actually not even expecting a response, but I got a response back. But things outside of my control kept me from doing it. So
I love
it
it. Love it.
happens.
Yeah, and for you just to step out there and just to make that attempt, because that's the first step in everything. So that was key. I'm glad that you
Mhm.
was able to do that and hear something back. Because a lot of people get frustrated on that one. You get
Well,
a lot of
yeah,
frustrated.
yeah, yeah. I got frustrated too.
You're
It's what it is. You're gonna get a no, or you're gonna get no response at all.
responsible. Yeah, I got Zaya in here. She's saying being in the room is a big part of it. So yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, you got to be there.
great topic. Um, let's go back into like the software. So you said you do a lot with videos. What is something that you use to edit those videos? Because some of them might not come out correctly, or this, that, and the third. You're chopping things up. What's a certain software that you use when you're editing your videos?
Now, there's a lot of debate because when you get down to the grits of it, a lot of these programs are the same, like are very similar in their setup. At the end of the day, it comes down to like your personal preference. Now, when I say debate, I tell people I use Final Cut a lot, and people, well, not so much now, but a few years ago, they would be like, puh, puh. They would they would kind of be like scoff at it, like, "Ugh, you're not real." I'm like, why? Because I use Final Cut. It was like, puh, that's not for pros. I was like, are you serious? You know, to their credit, when you would look at something like Adobe Premiere, which has a ridiculous amount of tools for you to use, you're like, well, man, damn, maybe I really am amateur. But then fast forward a few years, now you have Final Cut having all kind of stuff that you can use, um,
Mm,
and just being on Mac with Final Cut, which is designed for the Mac, it just makes everything faster.
yeah.
You know, like your workflow is just quick. With Adobe, I see people rendering out stuff, and they take hours. Like I can do the same project in Final Cut now, take minutes. You know,
Hmm.
so it just depends on your personal preference. You know,
Yeah.
what you're most comfortable with. I do plan on learning DaVinci Resolve though, because they have a really good um, color grading system. So yeah,
And can you use that also for your photos, or is that just specific to videos?
Final Cut is just video.
Okay.
DaVinci Resolve, I believe, is just video. But for when it comes to photos, not Final Cut, Lightroom or Adobe Photoshop.
Okay.
Mhm.
Nice. Nice. So with this one, like you said, like someone's going out there, they're doing an internship, stuff like that. What's a good way to market yourself? Is it business cards? Is it on Instagram? Since we're in the social or internet world, what is a good way to market yourself, or you're just coming out there and you want to get more business?
You know what though? I don't. I'm not too sure about business cards. I think I think that's an old way of doing things. I mean, I have them
Yeah.
because you're gonna have people say, "Hey, you got a business card," but how often do when you get a bit you, Nini? How often do you call somebody on a business card that you got
I don't do it
randomly?
often. Yeah, no. I'll usually ask like, can I have your number? You know what I mean? I
Right.
lock it in specifically who that person is.
That too, or you'll ask for their social media, and especially when it comes to a or their website. Like when it comes to someone who does photography or shoots video, you want to see the work, so you're gonna ask for a website
Yeah.
or their social media account. Like when you get a card, it's like it goes in your pocket. How often do you reach for it? Now, granted, if you really are interested in getting in contact with that person, then yes, you will hold on to that card and it won't get lost in the dryer somewhere. But for the most part, most people, you follow them on Instagram, you may forget about them. But then that off chance on a Sunday at 2:30 in the afternoon, you're on Instagram and you see a post from them. Oh snap! And you still be like, oh yeah, that's right. But you're not gonna do that. You're not gonna off chance find his card or her card. You're not gonna do
Yeah.
because I have a bunch of cards right now that I don't even remember what I was doing or where I was at to even get those cards. Now, granted, it could be useful, but I don't think it's like the main thing. Everybody's on this thing.
Hmm.
Everybody's on this. So like use what's easy for people to reach, social media. Just
Yeah.
grab on that. I think that's the best way.
No, that's smart though. That's very smart. Like I actually was like cleaning out the things that are in my bag and stuff like that. And I ran into these business cards and I'm like, I don't
Where
even
what
like why are
yeah,
these here?
where they
Like
come from, you
where did
know?
it come from? I need to, throw them away. But you're so right on that. Um, I think I had a last question for you. So when it comes to videography, and we kind of talked about this, you can branch off any type of way. What are some of the things that can get you into like cinema? You know what I mean? Like into the movies, like different podcasts or music entertainment. Is there a certain direction or thing that you need to take, like a path, or is it something that you can just bounce around and do whatever you feel comfortable with?
You know what? I used to do the bounce around thing. Shoot a music video here, shoot a podcast there, shoot a dance video here, film someone's event there. I think people have to narrow it down. Now you do that for like the first couple of months just to kind of see which one you enjoy
Mm-hmm.
best, but I don't think that should be a that should be a business model unless you have the business and you have like 5 or 6 different people who have those skills, specific skills. But just because you're good at shooting music videos doesn't mean you're going to be good shooting weddings.
Yeah.
So like I'd say yeah, it's cool in the beginning to kind of jump around to see which one you would like best. But try to narrow it down to like 1 or 2 different things. Like me, I found out after shooting like 10, maybe 15 different music videos, I don't really like shooting music videos. Like I really don't. And sometimes it's a down to you don't have enough time to do what you really want to do. You don't have the budget. A lot. Especially when you're dealing with a lot of local artists and like they don't have they they want certain things, but sometimes the budget you gotta just come back in 3 months,
Yeah.
save up, and then let's do the video. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes
Yeah.
that's the best move. But then you talk about documentary or cinema. Like those are you can't shoot a documentary the way you shoot a music video.
Mm-hmm.
You can't shoot a documentary the way you shoot a podcast. A podcast is like 2 3 different cameras and it just stays there.
Yeah.
You're shooting a documentary. There are people who shoot like 500 hours of footage and then narrow it down to a 2 hour movie. Can you imagine that? That's a totally different ball game. And then a wedding is very different too.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
you
it's,
only
it's
got one take at that.
exactly. So and yeah, I'm gonna be doing another podcast with my boy uh, Jamar Hutchinson, who we've shot a lot of weddings.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's done more than it was a point I didn't want to do him no more. Like he's done a lot more than me. I mean, but there's a formula to it. Once you get the formula to shooting weddings, it becomes a lot easier. Sometimes I just don't like spending as much time as they take because weddings be a long time.
Yeah.
But my boy, I'm gonna get on a podcast with him, and we're gonna talk about this very topic about once we get it all set up. So follow me at Von Walker, Instagram, with 2 R's at the end.
Yeah.
Just a plug. Um, to see when we're actually gonna start that podcast because we're gonna be talking about a lot of um interactions with clients, artists, what people who get married, people who want to shoot events, documentaries, podcasts, and things like that. We're going to be
Mm-hmm.
talking about that so people can really understand that it's just not. It's a lot that goes into some of this stuff. It's a lot that goes into some of this stuff. So I'm looking over here because
My face of
camera's here, your face is over there.
it.
But yeah, there's
It's
a
all
lot that
good.
goes into it. But I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, no,
Was that
you
right?
did. No,
Okay.
you did. You did. And it's good just starting out for people to understand, like, find an area that you want to like and then bounce around just a little bit at first just so you can
Yeah,
find
yeah,
what
just a
you're
little at
comfortable.
first to find out which one you are comfortable with, which one you want to do more of. Because I guarantee you, trying to do it all, something's gonna suffer. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say narrow it down to maybe 2 or 3 different types of videos and just excel at that. Because that's what I had to do. Like I started doing a lot of like videos with dancers, and I was like, okay, wait a minute. And that's when all of a sudden, like a lot of clients just like, yo, can you shoot my video? Can you shoot my video? Can you shoot one? Can I book you for this? Can I book you? And you start seeing like, okay, yeah, this is actually working now. I'm spending more time on this and I'm getting better at shooting this.
Right.
So So
That's
yeah.
what's up. Zane said champagne taste on a beer budget. We were talking about the videos.
Yeah. Yeah, you
No,
know.
I know that's right.
I
But
try it,
definitely.
being a like, I try not to like burn anybody's like or just rain on anyone's parade, but sometimes you really do have to have so he's like, okay, I need to do it and just take like 3 or 4 months before I do something so I can have the budget because I don't want to say, yo, I want to do this and I can't afford this. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, I can't afford it. No, you just want to take some time before you start approaching anyone, and because this takes time to learn. It's not just buying a camera and just hitting the snap button or hitting the record button. It's not just that. You got to bring equipment, and these equipment is not cheap, especially if you have stuff that's high grade.
Right.
You
So
know,
starting off, when you talking about equipment wise, what are some of the key things? Computer, like break it down for them. If they're gonna start off something, what are like the main things that they need to start whatever they're trying to do? At least photography, you can break that down. Usually it should be just a camera, but it might be more. I don't know. I'm trying to
yeah,
educate myself as well.
when it,
And
when,
also
when
with
it
video.
when it comes to photography, definitely a decent camera, which you can really get now. Like I said in the beginning, a budget of $500 to start off with.
Mm-hmm.
That's but you do want to eventually start getting higher up. A good mid level camera will be about $1,200 or $1,300. A good mid level. As far as like software, you can do Adobe, but that's a monthly subscription. I don't always recommend that because if you're not getting clients to help pay for that subscription, even if the subscription is like $10, even so, it does add up at the end of the year. So if you have clients that are actually paying, then do that. But then I think there's a few other photo editing softwares out there that you can purchase one time and you can practice with that and then eventually get up to Photoshop and Lightroom and things like that. So you're not paying a monthly subscription while you're learning, you know? Um, but if you have some clients that are ready to go, then yeah, by all means. As far as a computer, right now, you don't need to get anything heavy. You can get yourself a MacBook Air right now. A computer that costs maybe, I would say keep the computer that you get at around $1,000 because you're gonna need some power to edit some photo. Because when you start using the more advanced softwares, they do eat up a lot of power, especially for video. Um, and now a lot more for photography too. So yeah,
Definitely,
but you don't need
definitely.
to break the bank. You don't need to break the bank. You
Don't
go
break the
start
bank.
small.
Don't break the bank. You know what I'm saying? Make sure it's still good quality, but it's not gonna hurt you. But it's not gonna hurt you.
Right
But
now,
definitely tell the
it,
people.
yeah, I mean it's 2021 now, so a lot of the equipment that you get is gonna be good stuff. Yeah.
It really is. It really is. Definitely tell the people how they can follow you. I know you talked about your other podcasts, but definitely we got one coming up at the end of the month that we're
Yep.
doing together.
Underground rail. Um,
Underground Real.
I can't wait. I
So
can't wait for that.
yeah.
Um, I feel like I'm gonna be doing a lot of talking this year. Oh, but that's cool though.
People.
I love it.
Yeah. Tell them
Yeah,
give
but
me
yeah,
your Instagram, your Facebook, all that. And I do love
yeah.
it. I think
Well,
the
I'm not on Facebook like that. But Instagram is where I really play. Instagram, on YouTube as well. I'm still building my YouTube up. I'm still trying to figure out what kind of uh, place I want to be in when it comes to YouTube. But definitely follow me on Instagram as Von Walker, Von Walker with two R's at the end. I had to differentiate myself. And my other, if you want to see all of my work, it's Flying Arts on IG as well. So I have those two accounts. So check those out. I am going to be revamping my website, so I'm not going to give you that now. I did send it to you, but
yeah.
um, it's a lot of I need to redo that.
Okay.
I don't
Cause I
know
was
like it.
gonna post it, but I was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to
Nah,
post
just
it. Okay.
post the IG right now. I need to go back and go back to the drawing board on my website.
Okay.
Just make it
I'll
better.
definitely do that. Definitely do that. Well, Vaughn, it's always a pleasure to get you on here and we talk this talk. And just thank you so much for just the opportunity to educate us on, what it takes, the equipment, networking, the quality, whatever it is to help us get into that industry. So thank you for
One thing I want to say, the photographer that you mentioned in the beginning.
Mhm.
When I say that you really don't need to break the bank, he bought that camera for $7.50. I looked him up. His first camera he bought from a pawn shop,
Word.
$7.50, and he taught himself how to shoot and take
Wow.
photos. And he's in our history books.
And he's in our history books.
Let that sink in. You don't need a whole lot of stuff. Just start. Get yourself something small. Hell, again, start with this too. I'm trying to tell you.
That's
It's crazy.
deep. That's deep. I didn't know that. Thank you for looking that up. Thank you
Mhm.
and educating the followers. So I appreciate that. But again, thank you for everything you do. I'm gonna link up with you, my brother. We gotta talk this week about the podcast
Yep.
and just keep promoting it. Keep doing your thing.
All right.
All right,
You
love you, my brother. You have a good
gotta be
night.
easy. Have a good night.
All right. Yo, that was Von Walker himself, guys, to educate us and to talk to us about how to get into the industry if you want to be a photographer or videography or anything else that involves that entertainment. He's definitely a good resource. I've known him for a long time. He started out in the rap industry and then ventured into that. Hi, Crystal. So this man is very knowledgeable. He knows his stuff in and out. And if that's something that you're interested in doing, let me know. I can connect you with him. I can get you started. He does, does do instructions and training, train the trainer type stuff. So if that's something that you're interested in, just let me know and I can make sure I connect you guys. In battle, of course, I'm going to make sure I connect you with him as well. I want to thank you guys for watching, but before we go, we're going to go right into the hydration, which is called Organize Me. It's time that we cultivate a healthy habit so that we can alleviate the stress and the sense of feeling overwhelmed. There's no better time than now. While we're on in our social distancing, work on decluttering your home. Get things in order. Try some of these tips. Write things down. So I know one of the biggest things for me, I like to write things down daily. And I keep that chart as far as 3 to 5 things of importance, like prioritizing them. I noticed that when I made a big list of like 1 through 20, when I didn't accomplish everything, I got discouraged. Right. So you want to make sure that you just pick the most important 3 to 5 things you need to get done that day and then go ahead and tackle them. And it gets me into my second point of uh long term, like make a schedule and a deadline. So if you know something that can't get done in that day, stretch it out for it to get done that week or that month, whatever the case may be. That's tip number 2. Also, assign everything a home. There's everything, people have things all over the place. If your cleaning supplies are supposed to be underneath your sink, put them under your sink. Your trash, your clothes, put them where they need to be respectfully, because you don't want to be running around trying to find something. You build that stress, get confused, you hollering at people. Just know exactly where you place your item. So assign it a home. And lastly, um, keep only what you need. A lot of things, and I'm guilty of it. Amazon has gotten like almost all my money. I just been buying stuff, right? And I'm like, I don't even need this. So buy the things that you need and keep them in your house. Things that you don't need, go ahead and donate those. Give them to people that are in need of your items. So that's another way to stay organized. So definitely try those tips. Let me know what you think about that. Try that this week. So organize me. Clean the things around you so you can be stress free. And I hope that helps you throughout the rest of the week. And hold on, my realtor then came on here. Crystal, what kind of work does he do? I'm gonna connect y'all. I'm gonna connect you, Crystal. Right now, I need this house, girl. I'm just kidding. But yeah, we're gonna make sure that you guys are good. Hit me up. Make sure you go follow underscore underground rail on IG. You can also find us on YouTube. The name has switched over. Instead of Nini Show, it is Underground Rail. So check us out. Share the word with everybody. It's interactive, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Next week, actually, I'm going to have Crystal on the show. Crystal's going to be on the show to talk to us about real estate and going through that first time home buyer process. And she's actually currently working with me right now, so I can use my VA loan to buy my house. So I'm excited to have her on the show next week. So make sure y'all tune in. Y'all have a wonderful night and a blessed week. Mwah!